Well, good morning, everybody. How are we? Today we will be working with a strap, nothing terrible, just a little something to help extend our grips and to help us out today. Nothing special has to be used. A belt, a scarf. If you have a fancy yoga strap, that's cool. If you got a brand new purple belt, that works too. A dish towel can also work very, very well. But we'll just keep that handy and we'll use it throughout our practice today. But starting out, we will start in our comfortable seated positions. We can move those big old muscles away from our sitting bones. Close our eyes, roll the shoulders back, lift the heart. Take a few deep breaths in through our nose and out through our mouths. With those big breaths, feel the tension melting away. Bring our focus inward so that we can connect with our bodies, make sure that we're listening to what it is needing from us today. And then we'll seal our lips, inhaling and exhaling through our nose. Inhale, hands come up high, reaching the fingers nice and high, dropping the shoulders away from our ears. And then exhale, we'll just reach forward, chest come forward and then down into a little forward fold here. Good. Keeping our chests low, we'll just walk those hands over to one side, centering our chest over the knee, reaching our hands across. Both sitting bones are pressing into our mats. Begin to feel our side body open up a little bit. And then slowly walking those hands back to the center. One full breath here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, chest comes lower. Arms come out a little further. Inhale here, and then on our exhale, just walking those hands around to the other side. And then we'll slowly walk those hands back to the center. And then on our next inhale, hands are walking ourselves back, rolling ourselves up to seated. And then we'll grab our straps. We're just gonna hold these straps about a little bit wider than our shoulders, keeping the strap nice and taut as we are holding these. Shoulders are coming down, chests are lifting, and then as we inhale, bringing our hands up above our head, and then exhale, pulling the shoulders back, arms go down. And then inhale, we come up. And then exhaling down. Now, if that's not enough, what I'm going to ask you to do is as we inhale and exhale, moving these shoulders around, we're not going to funk up our back trying to make our shoulders move. So a nice strong core here as we inhale and then exhale, flat back. Ooh, that's a little bit more difficult on a Sunday morning. And inhale up. Moving with our breath, listening to our body, going at whatever pace, with whatever width our shoulders are allowing us to do today. It might be different than yesterday, might be different than what it will be tomorrow. That's okay. As we warm up a little bit, maybe we cinch our little belt up a little bit, or maybe we don't. Let's do one more. Inhaling up. Exhale back. Inhale, we come up. And exhaling down. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now what we're going to do is we are going to keep a nice grip on our belt. Inhale, right hand is going to come up, and then left hand is going to come back. So what we're going to try and do is just wiggle those fingers closer, closer, closer together. But see, this way, we don't have to struggle with our necks trying to get those fingers to touch. We can use that strap to help get our arms where they need to be without pushing our head in weird directions. We can allow those shoulders to relax a little bit. Maybe we creepy curl the fingers a little bit closer together. And again, maybe we don't. And that's okay. Let's do one more breath here. And then at the tail end of that exhale, we can just release those hands. Give ourselves a bit of a wiggle if we need. And we'll move on to the other side when we're ready. So we'll lift up that left hand. Right hand reaches back behind, and it's like we're trying to scratch that impossible spot in our back with that top hand. Reaching back there. Wiggling those fingers closer together, but using that strap. Lifting our heads, breathing into our bellies. That's the ghost. Stay here for two more big deep breaths. Inhaling. Exhaling. Feel the body melt as we exhale. And then on that last exhale, very tail end, we'll just slide those hands away from each other. We can let that belt hang out for just a moment. And we inhale, hands come up high. And then exhale, we're just gonna give ourselves a little hug now. Tips of our fingers just touch the top of our shoulders. Exhale, lower the shoulders down. And letting go, inhaling high. And then we're gonna cross our hands the other direction. So whichever was on the top is now on the bottom. Little hug here. Good, slowly releasing those hands. Good. Inhale, hands come up high again. And now exhale, let's take them over to the right. Right hand can find the floor, left hand reaches up and over, pressing that left hip down into the ground, extending from the hip all the way to the fingers. But then don't forget about these inside ribs. We don't want to just collapse. Lengthen and then arch our way over. Whew. Inhaling up. And then over to the other side. Exhaling. Swaying to the left. Good, and then inhale, let's come back up. And releasing those hands. We're gonna take this left leg and just swing it back behind us into like a little bit of a deer pose here. So front leg, right leg is parallel to the top of our mat. Back leg, our thigh is parallel to the top of the mat. And our shin is parallel to the side. Hands are right in front of us. Take a couple of breaths here. Let those hips kind of get used to where we're at. And if and when we're ready, we can crawl those hands forward. Chests come forward. We can lower down onto our elbows or all the way down into a fold. Good, and then slowly we'll walk those hands backwards, lifting the chest. Now we're gonna see if we can challenge ourselves here. Hands will just come out in front of us like we're reaching for something. We're going to begin to shift our weight forward, rolling over that right shin, and then stepping forward with our left foot into a little bit of a lunge. Hands can come up high, hips come forward, chest comes up nice and high. And now let's lower that right hand into a little twist. Stacking the shoulders, bringing our gaze up toward the sky, sinking the hips down a little bit further, but pressing into that right hand to keep support in that shoulder. Beautiful. And now let's lower that left hand. And now walking our way back for our half split. This is a great opportunity for us to use a block, or we can maybe use our strap on our toes to help keep that chest working forward as opposed to curling the back. Tilting that pelvis, our tailbone should be pointing back behind us instead of underneath of us, which will help really open up that hamstring, protect that low back. 2 more breaths. Good, and then slowly we can release. Back to our lunge. Inhale high again. And now let's see if we can press that reverse button. So this right foot is gonna swish to the inside. Use that core, sitting back into our deer pose. Woo, very good. Hands come down in front of our shin again. And now we're gonna begin to wiggle that left leg back behind us and set ourselves up for pigeon. Left leg is long, right knee is bent, foot flexed up here in the front. And now let's all think about this left hip, bringing it forward so it's with its friend. If we are happy here up on our hands, we stay here. If we would like, we can walk those hands forward. Again, lower down onto our elbows or all the way down into a fold. If we get down to a certain spot and we don't like it, go on back. Stay here for 3 more breaths. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling completely. Good, and then we'll slowly raise back up onto our hands. We'll sit down onto this right hip and we'll bring both legs out in front of us. Give them a little wiggle. Shake them out a bit before we move on to the other side. So now left leg will be out in front, right leg swings on around to the back. Take a couple of breaths here. Let those hips settle. And then if we would like, we can begin to fold. And then on our next inhale, helping ourselves back up to the top. Finding that balance, reaching forward like there's something way out there that we just need to have rolling over that left shin. Stepping forward with the right with as much grace as we can muster. And then sinking down into that crescent lunge. Hands come up high, chest lift up, hips sink down, shoulders moving back and down. A lot of pops and cracklings happen over here. Good, and now let's lower down that left hand for a little twist here. Opening up those shoulders, lowering the left hip, reaching with those right fingers. And then exhale, both hands come down to the mat for our lunge. And now exhale. Let's work our way back for our half split. Again, if we would like to use our little strap, we totally can. Nice tall spine as we fold forward, hinging at those hips. Good, and then we'll release. Come on, forward. And then again, hands come up high. Get that core working, swish the left foot inward, stepping back. Woo! Gonna be a good day. Good, and then hands come back down in front of that left shin. And then we'll begin to creepy crawl that right foot back behind us and work our way into pigeon. Right hip comes forward so that both hips are level and even. And then we can gradually work down into whatever version of this pose we would like to do. We're on our elbows like Sphinx. We're down into a full fold. Do one more deep breath here. Inhaling. Lengthening in that spine. Exhaling. Folding a little bit further down. Sinking those hips. And then on the next inhale, we'll walk those hands back. Good, and we'll sit down onto that left hip. And now both legs are going to go all the way back behind us. We'll find ourselves on our tummies. We can give ourselves a little bit of a wiggle or a shake. Good. And then hands are underneath of our shoulders. We're just going to press all the way back into a child's pose. Hips come back over our heels. Arms are out in front of us. Fingers are wide. Chests are sinking low. Now let's begin to walk those fingers forward. Hips will come over our knees now. Arms are out in front of us, and then we'll just lower the chest nice and low for puppy dog pose. And slowly, let's walk those hands backwards. Come back to our child's pose. Tuck the chin. Hands can come all the way back towards our toes as we round in the spine after that back bend. And then hands can come out in front. We'll swish those feet over to one side, coming back onto our butts into a seated pose, and we'll grab those straps again. So let's come out. Left leg is out long, and we'll come into a Janu Shirshasana. Right foot comes to the inside of the thigh here. First, let's inhale. Hands come up high. Little twist in the spine as we exhale, turning towards the right. Hands can come down. Left hand can come to the outside of that right thigh. Right hand is on the floor right behind our spine so that it can support. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we twist. And we'll slowly come back around to center. We'll bend this left knee just a little bit so we can grab that strap and hook it around the foot. And then we're going to hold on to that strap with our left hand, elbow to the inside of that knee. Inhale, nice and tall. And then exhale, we're just going to begin to lengthen that left leg. Beauty of this is that our strap can go as long or as short as we need it to be so that we can get down into that little side stretch without a lot of strain, a little bit of help. And now this right hand can reach up and over. And then inhale. We'll come up, release that strap. Wiggle it out, and we'll come over to the other side when we're ready. Right leg out long. Left foot to the inside of that thigh. Both hips are pointing forward. Inhale, hands come up high. And then exhale, we'll turn to the left. Little twist here. Slowly we'll unwind. We'll bend that right knee, grab our straps, and place it around our foot. Elbow on that right side comes inside of the knee. Find our sitting bones. Inhale nice and tall, and then exhale. Begin to extend that right leg. Elbow stays to the inside of the knee. Stacking those shoulders into one plane, and then we can lift up and over with the left hand. And then inhale, we'll come on up. We'll release that right leg. Give ourselves a little wiggle. And then we'll bend those knees, roll ourselves up into our little ball, and rock back onto our backs. We can go back and forth, side to side, give ourselves that little massage. Good. And then knees are bent, shoulders are relaxing into our mats. We're going to grab that strap again. And we're going to hook it around both of those feet. And then we can lengthen those legs. Beauty is, we don't have to reach for it. We can just use that strap, flexing those feet as much as we can so we can almost see the bottoms of those toes. Our back is flat to the mat. And now if this is where we're at, this is where we're at. What's nice is we can use that strap to help ourselves up. As we breathe, we can just gently encourage those legs to come towards us. Millimeters is progress. Good, gentle bend in those knees. I'm going to release that right leg out of its little bind here and let it hang out on the ground, nice and soft. Left leg still inside that strap. And we're going to lengthen that left leg. Flex the feet. And now both sides of the strap are going to go into the right hand. And our left hand is going to make like a little, I don't know, like a little hand puppet. We're going to put our thumb in the crease of that left hip to encourage it to come down. Because when we do this stretch, it's going to want to hike up all the way up into our armpit, and we don't want that to happen. So we're encouraging that left hip to go down toward our right. And now we're going to take this left leg and move it across the center line so that our foot is over the right hip. So we'll lengthen in the side of this leg this direction. So we're not trying to go so far that the hips fly up off of the mat. Big deep breaths here. Literally embrace the strap. Two more breaths. See, if I give us an end point, it seems easier. Good, and then coming back to the center, we'll switch hands over to the left hand with that belt. Right hand touches the top of that right hip so that it doesn't fly off the mat, and we open up that left leg to the left. Now it's not going to go all the way down to the floor because this is what's going to happen with that right hip. So we're just opening it up enough. And that's why we use our strap. And then we'll release, come back to the center. We'll bend that left knee, bring the right foot back into our strap and switch sides. So right foot's inside our strap, left leg can get a little rest down onto the mat. Flexing that right foot, encouraging it in towards us. And then both pieces of those straps go into our left hand, little hand shadow puppet. Thumb goes into our right hip, and we're moving it down towards that left foot. Keeping those hips nice and level and even, and then we slowly move the foot over across that midline, just over that left hip. It doesn't have to go any further. We'll get what we need out of it if we're doing what we need to in this left hip. If we move that left hip down, or that right hip down, we'll get nice, that outer hip stretch. Use that breath. One more deep inhale. Exhale slowly. Beautiful. Coming back to the center, we're going to switch hands with our strap. Left hand goes to the top of the left hip to just keep it where it's at. And we'll open that right leg out to the right. Good. And then coming back to the center, gently bending that right knee. Left foot can come back into the mix. We'll do one more waterfall pose here. Both feet into our straps. Pull back is on the mat, flexing the feet and gently, just gently encouraging those feet to come towards us. Good. And then bending the knees oh so deeply, bringing them into our chest. We'll take that belt or strap and just chuck it out to the side. Roll up into our little ball. Good. Inhale, hands and feet come up to the sky. Wiggle our fingers and our toes. Move around in our ankles and in our wrists for some krakalasana. Good. Inhale one more time and then exhale, slowly lower them down. Once we get down to the mat, we're going to make one big stretch here. Make ourselves as long as we can. And then we're going to move into banana. And take our right hand, hold our left wrist, and encourage our shoulders to slide over to the right, keeping our hips where they are. So we're just making a bit of a crescent shape on the ground. And then we'll walk those feet over to the right as well, finishing the banana all along our body. Want to make sure that both shoulders are still touching the mat, so we're not turning to do this. Beautiful. Releasing back to the center. Make ourselves as long as we can, and then over to the left. The left hand holds the right wrist, sliding those shoulders over to the left, walking the feet over as well. And then exhaling, releasing back to the center. One more big stretch. And exhale completely, relaxing everything in our bodies. Hands can come down to our sides. Legs are soft. We close our eyes. We soften our jaw. We take a couple of breaths to give ourselves permission to just be still. We deepen our breath. Little movements back into our bodies. As we come back into our space. And bring those knees into our chest when we're ready. We'll roll over onto our side. We'll help ourselves back up to seated. Eyes are closed. Rising up, rejuvenated and reborn. Bring our hands together at our hearts, lowering our heads, expressing gratitude to us for all of the gifts that we just gave us. Thank you all so, so much for joining me, for sharing your time with me, allowing me to help you with your practice today. I'm grateful for your dedication to yourselves. The light in the divine in me recognizes and respects the light in the divine in each of you. And when we are together, whether physically or virtually, we are one. Namaste.